Good morning and welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Thank you for stopping by. Political reflections. Well, let's start with Indo-Pak. Pakistani military spokesman yesterday, as you all know, the Pakistani government has called a meeting of the National Command Authority tomorrow. I hope you know what that means. The National Command Authority oversees Pakistan's nuclear weapons. Yesterday I said this is a hair-trigger situation. Today at least 3 Pakistani combat jets entered Indian airspace on Wednesday before turning back, an Indian official told Reuters. An Indian Air Force jet has crashed in Jammu and Kashmir, PTI says. Pakistan's F-16 that violated Indian airspace shot down, says Annie via Sun Chartist. Stocks in Pakistan fall off a cliff. The KSE 100 is on track for the worst 2-day drop in over 3 years. And Indian stocks completely reversed all their gains. The latest headline, Pakistan says it shot down 2 Indian aircraft. And then I found this footage by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, the father of Benazir Bhutto. If you look at the footage, you'll see her in the background. He says, "My people and Indian people are too poor to keep on fighting every 5 to 10 years. It's in the mutual interest of 2 countries that we do not get intoxicated by momentarily gains and think of tomorrow. Must think in terms of coexisting, not in terms of victor and vanquished." And that's a message that both leaderships should listen to. President Trump's motorcade is seen on the streets of Hanoi on the way to his hotel. That's from W7VOA via Mark Noller. And that took me to the 30th of April 2018 when I was writing about the optics. I was talking about this opening shot of Kim Jong-un surrounded by a phalanx of North Korean officials. And this was replayed again as Chairman Kim sat in his presidential vehicle surrounded by his ninja bodyguards. And I said it was almost as good as the opening sequence in P.T. Anderson's Boogie Nights. This was cinema of the highest level, which is no surprise when you consider that Kim Jong-il, the father, was obsessed with cinema and amassed arguably the world's largest film collection, over 20,000 bootlegged 35mm screening copies. He also had a penchant for Hennessy parody cognac, and for 2 years in the mid-1990s he was the world's largest buyer of Hennessy parody cognac, importing up to $800,000 of the stuff a year. Kim Jong-il began his career as the head of the state's propaganda and agitation department, and it's clear that Kim Jong-un's sister, Kim Yo-jong, holds the same role and evidently handles all the optics, is a chip off the old block. This was tweeted by Washington Post. A smoke break and a sprinting interpreter. Vietnam's summit offers rare media scrutiny of Kim Jong-un. In this photograph, we see Trump's motorcade as he arrived in Vietnam as well. But my question remains, as it was on the 30th of April last year, what security guarantees can Trump provide to Kim? Offering up bulletproof security guarantees is the equivalent of threading the needle. He is, after all, the buffer state between China and more than 30,000 US soldiers parked on their doorstep in South Korea. September 2017, to give you a sense of the speed with which things have advanced, he was letting off rockets. I was quoting Thomas Pynchon, a curve each of them feels unmistakably. It is the parabola. They must have guessed once or twice, guessed and refused to believe that everything always collectively had been moving toward that purified shape latent in the sky, that shape of no surprise, no second chance, no return. This is a photo released by the North Korean media which shows Kim Jong-un meeting with his negotiators after arriving in Hanoi. And then Jack Dorsey asks, when Trump finishes his cod and Wagyu beef medallions lunch with the Vietnamese, who gets to show him the testimony? This is the Michael Cohen testimony. There's a link on the website for it. And this took my attention. I am ashamed because I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist, he is a con man, he is a cheat. He was a presidential candidate who knew that Roger Stone was talking with Julian Assange about a WikiLeaks drop of Democratic National Committee emails. That takes me back to December 2016 when I said, from feeding the hothouse conspiracy frenzy online, a constant state of destabilized perception, timely and judicious doses of WikiLeaks leaks which drained Hillary Clinton's bona fides and her turnout and motivated Trump's. At least 2 US warships sailed through the Taiwan Strait on Monday in an unexpected act that flies in the face of largely placid relations between China and Taiwan. That's Asia Times Online. This is the 5th such strait transit by US warships in the last 8 months. October 2018, I was writing about the incident with the USS Decatur, where a Chinese warship came within 45 yards of the same ship. And I said that surely is a precursor. George Magnus has written a piece, Z Feels the Heat. If you want to understand the US-China trade talks, you need to read this piece by George Magnus. In the US-China trade war, politics seem to be driving both sides towards a deal. Both Trump and Xi Jinping have incentives to reach an agreement, but who needs a deal more? I can't tell you exactly about timing, Trump told his officials, but the date is not a magical date. A lot of things can happen. First, China's economy is slowing down. There are weaknesses in everything from manufacturing and investment to the property, auto, consumer and export markets. The official economic growth rate of just under 6.5% and the 3.8% unemployment rate are considered as far too optimistic by seasoned economists. Xi needs to satisfy a hawkish US administration and business lobby, even if Trump himself proves to be a soft touch in the current talks. China will have to go a lot further than simply buying more US products. Xi's game plan is to play for time and stretch the talks out, hoping that the longer they continue, the greater the chance the need for a deal switches from Beijing to Washington and Trump's re-election campaign. But make no mistake, Xi needs to avoid Trump's tariffs like the plague, and these talks will by no means end the trade war. December, at the end of the year, I said China has been delaying some data releases, and high-frequency satellite data confirms a sharp slowdown in the Chinese economy, which is yet to be seen in official data points. End of the year, I was also wrote that the trajectory of the tariff war is another pivotal curve to keep an eye on in 2019. And on the 9th of July, I was asking, tariff wars, who blinks first?